All right. Same topic, advancing your career in product. Who am I? I have been in product for more than 20 years. So in tech organizations, I coach product leaders and product people in general. I have always been curious about how do you actually do this, building great products. And I'm especially passionate to make this a career path and experience that's open to anyone who wants to have a career in product, especially women and people from all kinds of identities. Personally, I love traveling, dancing, tango, the arts, and good food. Um, this is what I would like you to take away today. You all have agency in shaping your own career path and product. Um, what I'll speak about today is I am doing research. I'm in the middle of the project right now, and I'll share with you things I have been learning about how people successfully got promoted in product. And I invite you to ask questions through Slido that we will pick up in our fireside chat after I'm done speaking. About my research. My hypothesis was that gender does play a role in this game, right? We all want to build great products. We want and deserve the support we need to do so. And we'd like to have the same opportunities and are given the same chances to actually work successfully in product, right? Question is this an equal playing ground? I've been interviewing 25 women and 25 men who have successfully been promoted into a more senior product leadership role, most of them into a role that also manages people, some just into a more senior product role without people management responsibilities. My next step will be to create a quantitative survey out of this. Will go out in the next coming weeks to collect even more data on what I have been finding so far. But I'll share with you what I've been learning along the way. The goal for many of you, I guess, is you want a yes to a promotion. And the question is, how do you get there, right? The baseline is you have to do a good job at the role you currently have. When that's not working, it's very, very unlikely that you will get promoted. If you find yourself in a context where you cannot do this job and you like to be promoted, it might be better to switch companies and go somewhere else. But assuming that you are doing a good job with the thing that you've been hired for, then my first tip is relationships matter. It is not good enough to just be seen for delivering good results. You want to be liked by your boss and ideally by their boss as well, if that's the organization you're in. If you're so small that you only have one boss, then that's all you probably have to care about. But if you're in a scale up or if you're in an enterprise organization, it's important to not only be seen by your direct manager, but by the person up one level as well. And it's quite commonsensical if you think about it, because if you are in that bigger organizational context and somebody wants to suggest you for promotion, the person who needs to say yes to that is usually their boss. If they already know you and like you, it's going to be much, much easier for them to say yes to this and you're in the game. There are many things you can do to improve relationships with your direct manager and their direct manager, but think about it from their perspective. What is it that they need to look good in their organization? What can you do to help them shine in whatever way that this may entail? The second tip is visibility. You want to be seen for something cool in your organization. Ideally, you can contribute to a project that is of some strategic relevance in your organization. So if you can pick when you're hired, sometimes you don't get that choice, but even let's say you are in an organization already and a new strategic direction opens up and they're looking for people to take that opportunity, that's a very, very good way to be seen and to be seen as doing relevant work in the context of your organization. So anything you can learn about the strategy of your organization and to make your work relevant in that context is going to help you with this visibility topic. Don't be shy to speak up in an all hands meeting. Ask for these kind of opportunities. Maybe speak about what your company is doing publicly to raise your profile. Anything that helps you, that helps people recognize who you are and has you be seen as somebody that is contributing towards the company's goals. The third tip I have is pick your context wisely. Most people I have spoken with who successfully got promoted are working in a context of a growing organization. And that again is like, it's common sense, right? Like organizations growing, they need more product people. You're already in there. Maybe you're in a startup, you're the first product person there. They are growing and scaling. If you did a good job, most likely they will keep promoting you. If your company is stagnating or shrinking, opportunities are just fewer. So that's something you can look for when you're hiring or when you're applying for opportunities. It's really good to apply in an organization that's growing. And for the women, it's really good to look for organizations that already have women in leadership. As Mirella said, right, it's not that you have no chance advancing in another organization, but you can see a proven track record of women advancing in their career in this organization already. And ideally, you have 30% or more women in leadership roles already, because at that point, you have a tipping point in culture typically where more women have more equal access to things. It's also for the women a good idea sometimes to look for enterprises, because in enterprises, the path to promotion is a lot more regulated. There are regular performance review cadences. There are descriptions of what it means to be a junior product person or a senior product person, and clarity around what it takes to go from one step to the other. And there is a little less bias in the game when it comes to those promotion paths, because there's a lot more definition of what's asked of a person that wants to advance. Some more things that you can do that you have agency over. As you advance and you're being promoted, assume that you have blind spots. There are things that are different as you go from individual contributor to a more senior product role, especially when that's a role where you're starting to manage people. There are additional things that are asked of you, and there probably are things that you are blind to that you don't know that you should be doing. So find out what these things are by asking the people around you whether you're meeting expectations, and whatever comes back as feedback, start doing something about it. It might also be a good idea. Let's say you are currently a product manager and you want to become a head of product with people management responsibilities, right? Look for some people. And I mean, I'm sure there's people in this room right now who are in a product manager role, and others here who have led product teams before. Speak to us more experienced people about what it's really like in those roles, because then you can learn about what extra thing might be needed and you can start taking those steps. One thing about this beautiful topic of politics, some call it bias, some call it perspectives. It's important to understand what game are people playing around you in your organization. Stakeholder management and dealing with this topic of politics or bias or perspectives is named as a challenge by 76% of the women I interviewed and by 45% of the men. So it's like all genders struggle with stakeholder management, but the kind of things women say is different from the kind of things men say. For men, it's difficult to understand, for example, where's the sales leader coming from when they ask X, Y, or Z from me. For women, there is the additional challenge to be believed what you're saying you want to do and not be questioned as a person and as a perspective just by some stupid stereotype that's around you. So it's challenging for everyone, but the way in which this is challenging is not exactly the same. So again, for the women here, speak to us more experienced people, how we navigated this. There are ways to be with this. Sometimes it helps to just know that this is part of the game and it's not personal, it's not about you. It happens to all of us. So it's just something to know. And the more you can shift your perspective from being a victim of this towards, okay, this is part of the game. Here are different perspectives at play. There are different things in the system at play that sometimes work in my favor and sometimes don't. The more you can feel capable to shape things and take actions. And this is also another thing that I would recommend everyone do when you are in whichever context you are in. Ask what the system is, especially in an enterprise. There always is a system. And even if there is no formalized system with a performance review cadence and clear descriptions of what a senior PM is and a director of PM is and a head of PM is, there is a system in place. And it could be informal. It could just be that you have to be great buddies with the CEO. That's a system too. Find out what the system is in which you're navigating. If you need to, and there's no formally visible system, then speak to the people who did get promoted in your context and ask them how they got promoted. And I think it's always good to know what you are good at, because that's something you have complete agency over. You can identify what your strengths are, and you can also identify where maybe you need to grow and chip away at that. Who can support you? Your manager and theirs. Another way to build relationship is to go ask for advice. Product communities like ProductTank, your network and your team, people in the role you want, because they can point out to you what you might not yet know. Mentors and product coaches. I mean, I do this for a living, so if someone wants to hire me, I can also help with this. There are lots and lots of blogs and podcasts and books on the topic. So there is a lot you can do without any one of your bosses capable to hinder you take that next step. And if you take a next step every week in some small way, and then the next week again, and then again and then again, you will become better at what you're doing. And even if this doesn't lead to a promotion in the place where you currently work, you're preparing yourself and you're setting yourself up for success somewhere else. So my key takeaways are you have a ton of agency in this promotion game. You can work on your relationships at work. You can work on your visibility. You can choose the context you will contribute to. You can seek support, obviously. You have a network here in this room. You can have a clear idea where you want to go. And you have agency over what you want to learn today or this week or this month. So anyone wants to read more, I write a blog on these topics. I will keep publishing more of my findings from the research there as well. So you are more than welcome to subscribe to the blog and read about more product topics. And if you want to get in touch with me on LinkedIn, this is how you can find me. I coach, I do workshops, I speak. And now we're going to take a quick moment to rearrange and jump right into our fireside chat.